The next thing is our expectations. And we talk a lot about these expectations at tryouts. What they can expect of me and what they can expect of me is the director is a safe environment and a presence. We're fortunate, and this is something that I've really improved in the last probably 2, maybe 3 years, is being present. Our spring, me being present in the summer is very, very difficult because we're all over the place. We're at different tournaments. I'm running my HoganLax tournaments. My Hawks are at different tournaments. Even when they're in my tournament, sometimes I can't get to them enough because we have issues going on somewhere else at a site. But our spring league used to be all over Maryland. Now all the games are held at 1 of 2 parks in the morning to 5 or 6 at night. And I can see most of my teams play. And that's been a big thing. I don't get to as many practices I'd like to get to, but having leadership through presence, I think, is extremely important. Their expectations, I will hire and secure outstanding coaches, and that we'll find appropriate teams for our tournaments. And that's something that was a knock of me and of our program for a while by other programs. And when we were starting out, we sort of had all of our teams go to my tournaments. And as our teams improved and some of them outgrew our tournaments, we needed to find the appropriate tournaments for them. And that is both for our A and B teams, that I'll get into a little bit later. I think this is really important for the director, the 4 things that they can expect of me. My expectations of the coaches is that they'll develop the player. This is a pet peeve of mine. You can see here, there's a good and a bad here going on right in this one video. We have a coach doing an extremely good job of bringing a whiteboard out. I don't know how you coach without one during a game, especially these are 4th graders. For you to verbalize everything is an unrealistic expectation of you as a coach. You to draw and have them understand what you're talking about. No way. The next coach, who I love dearly, but he's on his cell phone texting or checking his Twitter. I don't know what he's doing at halftime, but he's checking this right here, right now. I wish he wouldn't do that. But this is something that I think that we will develop the player. I think this coach is in a developed team. And we typically, I probably do this backwards, we tell everybody our coach's priority is to develop the team over the player. And this is about being part of a team. It's a part of being part of the we culture, not a part of the me culture. I know a woman's director that makes the coaches take pictures and text them the practice plans to them. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I don't want to be that much a big brother. I think that if you have a written practice plan, the only reason I want is so that it shows you put some thought into this, right? And you will communicate with parents. I was interviewing a guy who wants to coach, who I loved. I thought it was going to be great. And he came up and said, I am not going to talk to parents. He didn't get the job. I mean, that's part of coaching club now. I know for a while in high school, when I first got in high school in 2002, that was one of the things, I don't talk to parents. That was a big thing. I never understood that. We want to talk to parents. And in the club, it's even different because they're customers. They're paying customers. That doesn't mean they get to dictate what goes on and what we do and how we do things, but they are a paying customer. And I think that changes the dynamic a little bit of how you communicate with them. It is a requirement that you communicate with your parents. And then the parents, the expectation of the parents is to allow this experience to be their son's experience. And that's probably something all of us are fighting with. And I was at the convention this weekend, and boy, I heard an awful lot of moaning and groaning about being a club director and dealing with parents. If things are going that poorly, there's a self-evaluation you have to make with what you're doing and how you're doing it. We used to get crushed by our parents. And after fighting back, I realized there were a lot of things that we were doing that brought that on. And we've been better at communicating with our parents. We've been better at providing what we say we're providing. I think being good helps that, because when we were okay, the parents complained because they felt they could go somewhere else to get the same product. Maybe now that we're a little bit better, that that that's not maybe the case anymore. And I think we're very, very fortunate that we have really good players and who want to play for us, enjoy playing for us. And more than anything else that makes us a really good club is that we have really good players. We want our parents to support the coach's decision. When we decide that we think that someone's a midfielder's an attackman, or attackman's a midfielder, or defenseman's a goalie, or whatever it is, or a guy's a fogo, or a guy's not a fogo, we expect our parents to support that decision, even if and we could be wrong, right? Sometimes we move a guy and it just doesn't work. The experiment doesn't work, and move him back to the other position. But we want the parents to support our decisions. One of the things I talk to our parents about is if there's one of the things you fight as a high school coach and you fight as a club guy coach is the kitchen table or the ride home, right? What is the parent telling the son he should be doing, and what is the coach telling the player he should be doing? And what I say often is, if the parent is disagreeing and telling their child to not do what we're doing, or that we're wrong, or that we're playing him out of position, whatever it is that is contrary to what we're preaching or what we're trying to do, the player has to decide who he's going to listen to. Is it the person that controls his playing time, or is the person who he loves? No matter who he listens to, he's going to disappoint one of those two people. He can't win. So the parent is putting their child in an unwinnable situation, and a situation that's probably going to impact them if they decide, I'm not listening to my parents. I love my parents, but I'm not listening to them. That's a tough dynamic at home. Or I'm not going to listen to my coach. So he doesn't listen to my coach, and his playing time goes south. They can't. The player is the only person that loses in that situation. We ask that our parents do not speak to officials during games. That's violated, but I think we've gotten a whole lot better at that. And we always say positive things to players in the field. We've had parents yell at other players in the field and mock other players and other coaches and that kind of thing, and that has stopped. We still have some parents that want to coach their sons on the field. We still have some parents who are hard on their sons on the field. And we've had some coaches that are, in my impression, too hard on their own son. And we've had to have those conversations. And I think right now our coaches are such good guys. They've really gotten a lot better in that area. What are the players' expectations? We'll listen to the coaches. One of the things that we say a lot right now is that the skill our players lack the most is the ability to listen. It's not their offhand, it's not speed, it's the ability to listen. They're weak at that. I love this picture because you see the coach coaching and not one player is looking at him. All right. I thought it was pretty funny. I don't know if the kid in front of the coach with the hat on is looking at him, but all the players are looking away from him. And this is a hell of a coach. Bob Mahan is a heck of a coach for us. You'll support your teammates. You'll give max effort, and you put the team first. And one of the things that when playing time gets knocked down, or a kid plays D-midi or is not a man up, we talk about these things. And the team first approach is critical, and being supportive of what we do. And I think that's been very, very helpful for us.
It seems like one of the biggest keys is to educate your parents. It's so hard because, it's hard to do it one at a time, but it seems like you're having the same, like, why do we do what we do? Why do we, practice the way we practice? Why do we coach, and correct somebody in front of Division I coaches? And what are the coaches really looking for? And, there's a lot of, people think that, if I don't score 5 goals in the game, I'm not going to get recruited. Meanwhile, somebody scores 5 goals and they're like, I should have gotten recruited, and someone else scores 1 goal and they get recruited, and they're not understanding what the coaches are even looking at. And there's just such a massive education that needs to go on for parents and players. And I was wondering if you have any thoughts on that, or unless you're touching on it in a little bit.
I wholeheartedly, it's a drip method. You got to just keep giving them information about other programs, that other things coaches say. There's a great Lou Holtz graduation speech he did for It's a school out in Ohio. It's a very religious Catholic school. He did a graduation speech there. San Franciscan is the school. It is awesome about life, but it's awesome about athletics. And he talks about how he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth because he never went hungry, because his father, when he asked for seconds, his father always told him he was full. He had enough. Those kinds of things, and how he when he got to Notre Dame, he won the 6 or 7 New Year Bowl games in a row, never been done again, and they wanted to just maintain. And that was one of the greatest mistakes he ever made in his career, was trying to maintain. We send things about Nick Saban. We send things about other coaches, and whether it's video or quotes, and try to build that upon what we've been preaching. So it's a constant newsletter, specific emails that we send. So we try to do. I don't have a newsletter that goes every 2 weeks or 1 week. So I just do newsletters as I think they see fit. And I try to go no more than a month without one. But in each of those newsletters, I try to use something about leadership, something about team building. Eric Kapitulik's The Program, theprogram.org. He's a guy who coached the Navy, was a Special Forces Marine. They send out newsletters, and I've asked them, so can I steal when you send a newsletter I think is appropriate for our team, can I use these? He says, no, most definitely. So I cut and paste those a lot. So I go on the internet and try to find things that sort of support our mission, support our non-negotiables and those kinds of things. And the recruiting side is probably the biggest tug of war. You know, what's important, what's not important, and that kind of thing. And there's a lot of education in that. And we do a college coaching presentation for that. We haven't done it this year. I'm not sure why. We do more one-on-one meetings now than we've done in the past. And I think that there's more questions asked, and I can be more direct about where this player belongs or doesn't belong and what they need to do, weaknesses, and parents have been pretty appreciative of that.